All right. So last really quick thing. So our Dame Luz section where we'll ask you a question about something that we want a little light on. This week, the thing that yo quiero un poco de luz for you to give me, the dynamic between loving your mom and having your mom be the most important woman in your life and having your significant other, wife, person, and bridging their relationship. What are some tips? How do you do it? How does that dynamic happen? What are things we should stay away from?
For me, I always because growing up, you always had value the opinions of your parents and your mom or who you're going to date. After a while, between that, the natural bonchincha that happens and never going to please everyone, I just said, fuck it, I'm going to date whoever I want to date. And I accepted my mom for who and what she is. And my life, I took control of my life and who I want to do things. So that being said, I think probably, by my third or second relationship, I didn't care if my mom liked the person I was with or didn't accept them or anything. And vice versa, if the person I was with, if they didn't like my mom, that's okay. I didn't force them.
Wow.
I didn't force
That's a
them.
big one.
I didn't force them to say, I'm going to do an event with my mom, you have to be there. If you don't like my mom, then you have your own issues with her. That's fine. Just like if I meet your parents and I don't like your father, do not force me to be in those type of things. I know just something. Everybody's not going to match. So that being said, my wife and my mom, they get along, but I keep, there's limits to a lot of things. It's just like, I don't share my life with my mom. She'll ask, how's everything going? I said, great. Does she cook? Does she take care of you? I always say, well, she does. She does. But I always say, I don't discuss my private life with anyone. And my mom's like, oh, but I'm your mother. Yeah. Right. But I don't discuss my private. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, but it's my life. I said, I don't ask you about your love life. I don't have no love life. I've been single for 40 years now. Once your father left, that motherfucker. So, but I'm like, but even if you did, I stay away from those things, Right. So I just keep, my love life is my love life. And I keep the privacy with that between that person and the connection between my wife and my mom. Yeah, they can get along or whatever, but I don't force that connection. I let that happen naturally. And then I don't share. I just share with my wife, and then whatever my mom shares to me about whatever, if she does, about my wife, I don't know about her. If she ever says anything like that, I don't share that to my wife because that's my mom issue. So I think the tip is keep your love life private. If your mom does not agree with what are you doing in your love life, then you shouldn't be talking about it. Hear it, see what she's saying, but you don't have to have to agree with what she's saying. All that. Your mom should be your mom. And your relationship, your lover should be your lover and stuff like that.
Now, what if one of them got out of line and expressed a disrespectful opinion about one of them?
That's different. Now, there's always a way of explaining. So let's use an example. Let's say my mom did a dickhead thing to my wife, and my wife says, "Yo, what your mom did was completely out of line. She was being a bitch," right? If that was true, honestly, I have to put what the shoe fits. Yo, my mom was acting like a dick, and that was fucked up. I would tell Mom, I don't appreciate. I would go. I don't appreciate when you did this and blah blah blah. I will totally respect if my wife don't want to be around her no more. I would just have to, because I have to understand if that was me. I've been in situations where I've been uncomfortable, and I was like, not with this one, the other past relationships, I was like, I don't want to be around your grandmother no more. And she's like, why? Because she did A, B, and C. I don't want to be around them. Okay, I can understand it. So when I come to pick you up, I'll still say hi to her, but I'll meet you in the front. I don't need the connection. I'm dating you. I'm not dating her. Yeah. And whatever she has to say, she could say it in the house, and that's it.
Do they ever team up and sort of turn against you, and they're like, Mira, he leaves his socks everywhere, right? He leaves his socks everywhere.
No, not really. Not really. There are a couple things they probably say, if I'm at my mom's house and we're eating and stuff like that, and my mom has this conspiracy that I don't eat. Because Ricky, you don't eat, you're looking skinny. So then let's say my wife says, yeah, he eats probably just breakfast and that's it. My mom be like, just breakfast? That's it? You know? And I look at her, I was like, why do you say that? Because you know she's going to fucking just be dramatic and blah, blah, blah. I knew it. You're not eating. And that's why you're getting skinny. What is this? The job? Is it this? Is it what is it? Tell me. Mom is so dramatic. So probably like a couple moments like that. But I also say like, I'll prep like what I had like with not with my wife, but like with my other girlfriends when they made the goal to like, you're gonna meet my mom.
Yeah.
I was like, this is how my mom is. She's mad dramatic for some things. Don't share fucking information. Do not share any information. Because then they'll see a different side of me, right? Like I'm mad talkative with you guys. Yeah. But when I go with my mom, I say, hey, how you doing? How's this? How's that? Blah, blah, blah. I don't get so deep in so many things. Right. Because I know how my mom is. Right. So I have limits for everybody in my family.
Absolutely. I'm guilty of being the girl who like gets in real good with mom. Like real good with mom to the point where by the time the shit is falling apart, the mom is like, what the fuck are you doing? She's perfect. Why are you fucking this up? I want grandchildren. You know what I mean? Like it's so interesting because I always like trust that relationship, but I guess I haven't been in any relationship long enough where I get to see the moment in which that turns on you. I slightly saw it in one of my relationships where, and this was literally like months before we broke up. He brought me a Tiffany's bracelet. And then apparently mom was like, oh, so you have money for Tiffany bracelets for your girlfriend, but you don't got money to throw to me. You live in my house, so you're not paying rent, and blah, blah, blah. And I will never forget that I felt so betrayed. I was like, oh, how dare she hate on my fucking Tiffany bracelet? You know what I mean? But at the same time, I was so deeply involved with her where I was like, but she's right though, because that nigga won't even put down money for a gallon of milk, and then suddenly it's both of us. Like, you know what I mean? So I've always just been interested from the person's perspective, whether it's a dude or a girl. Like, what does that feel like to be the other person trying to balance that relationship? I keep my family very, very separate from anything that is my intimate life, right? Especially after my first and only relationship, because I was like, fuck, like, how do we deal with the breakup part? Turns out my family was just like, oh yeah, we saw that breakup coming. So it was very like, they're like, oh, we have no feelings about it. But I think about marriage, right? And I'm like, damn, how the fuck would I navigate that till death do us part? Right. You know? So yeah, I'm glad that you had light on that.
I literally can only speak from being the brother in situations of that. My brother, in our case, I find that my brother is the one that the girls are really eager to fit in with our family. And we're not like the type of people that like hold our noses up to like other girls coming in. We're generally very welcoming and befriend whatever the girl or whatever would be going on. It's not until the girl makes like a foul move or a weird comment or stuff like that where it's then kind of like us being like, who's this bitch? Like, we gotta put her in line or whatever. But for the most part, it's been like the girl trying to infiltrate our tight-knit family. Yeah. And for one reason or another, they just not being able to
listen
to fall back. Like the last girlfriend, I actually grew up with her. Yeah, she was a girl from church. You know, we all went to church together, whatever. And so them dating wasn't like necessarily shocking because my brother and her had been talking for a long time. And so when they were together, it was like, oh, this is cute, church relationship. Like, I could kiki with her. She worked at Sephora. I ended up getting a job at Sephora. She was into makeup. We were kikiing or whatever. One thing leads to another. Their relationship doesn't necessarily last or whatever. But then, like, when it comes to having a kid, I'm not holy enough to be the godfather. So then there's something salty like that so I can only ever speak to, like, the female trying to come in for our family. I'm not one to have I've never had boyfriends like coming in and like introducing them to my parents, so I can't speak to that.
But it always feels so weird because
But-
because I'm a younger sibling of a girl and a boy. And shout out to them. It's their birthday tomorrow and Sunday. But with my sister, like when her husband Chad came into the scene, my father was straight up like, "Oh, you know I know how to box, right?" Like we were sitting in the living room watching TV, and out of nowhere, my dad just says, "You know I know how to box, right?" And it was sort of like, okay, well that's interesting. I always wondered like, oh, how is she going to manage this dynamic? But there was no management. Like that was the moment. My father did his King Kong chest bang. Chad is a man and understood, and they've been fine. But I think about like, you know, my brother and like past girlfriends and stuff that he's had, and the way that my mom is a super generous, loving person to any and everyone. Trump can come into our house and you would think that she agreed with everything he did because she's that hospitable. The minute that man walks away or turns his back, the shit that's coming out of her mouth, not so nice, right? So I've seen that cattiness with him, but I've never had a moment where I can say I've witnessed my father needing to be managed with the way that he's engaging, you know, Chad. And they've been together since I was like 13 and I'm 27 now. So like their relationship has been that long. So there's been plenty of opportunity and it's been smooth. So I wonder sometimes if this is one of those moments where, and I hate to put gender on things, but is it true that the dynamic between mother and wife, or just mothers with their children versus fathers with their children, if that requires more management?
I just think everything should be just managed naturally. You know what I'm saying? Like the only reason family should butt in for any serious moments if someone's getting abused or disrespected on a level that the person cannot control. Yeah. But besides that, like, you know, let the conversations happen naturally. Let the bonding happen naturally. Yeah. You shouldn't like be eager to fit into that family. You know what I'm saying? Just be yourself and that's it. And whether the family accepts you or not, it is what it is. You should not fight for a spot. That's not your place. Your spot was just to be with the person that you with there.
And speaking from a broken family, I don't want to say that, but like the dynamic of my mom getting a boyfriend, like and that kind of like being a 25-year-old man, you know, having to deal with another man coming. And kind of balancing that, like, I'm old enough for you to not try and be my father.
Right.
Like, I have a dad. Thanks.
Right.
You know, he raised me and he's very much present in my life. Balancing that dynamic of, like, yeah, like, you have a relationship with my mom, but that's my mom, you know?
Right.
And me being the one that does the King Kong, you know, the chest banging and being like, you know, the fuck you mean she's gonna go to Puerto Rico after she retires? Nah, like we're still here. My grandmother's still alive. We all in New York. She ain't going nowhere, nigga. Like, fuck out of here. There's two things I don't share. That's my money and my mother, right? Big pun. So like, you know, it was one of those things where it was like, also trying to navigate that and then realizing, oh, well, you know, she's an adult. And she has an itch that she needs to get scratched, you know? And like, kind of like, you know, just like.
I did not want to talk about him about having sex.
No, I'm not about that, but like, just like her knowing that, you know, she's a human being and deserves to have a loving relationship that is separate from her children. So that's an interesting thing too.
For sure. Well, thank you for giving us a little bit of loose on that. Rick, where can we find you on social media?
Oh, rhcomedy.com and on Instagram on at rhcomedy and pretty much Facebook too, RH Comedy. Everything is like Rick Win Herrera and everything is like RH Comedy. So. And
when's your next up and coming projects? What are you doing now? What anything we can watch?
Yeah, you can if you go to YouTube and type in Rick Herrera The Naked Truth, you can watch it for free. I put it up on YouTube.
Yes, watch that shit for free.
And then my second one man show Still Naked. You can hit me up on either on Instagram at RH Comedy, and I can show you a rough draft of that. So all the information out there, just reach out to me on rhcomedy.com or through Instagram at rhcomedy.
And you have awesome swag. Is that for sale?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I had at one point, but most of it
sold out. That's
most of it is mine. Yeah, I wear like all my stuff. I was like gonna brand everything.
Yeah, you should brand everything. And you can follow us on Ladies Who Bronche at Ladies Who Bronche on Instagram. at Ladies Who Bronche on Facebook, Ladies Bronche on Twitter. And soon we're going to have our website up. So I'm excited about that. Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. And until next time, Bronche.